National Freedom Party.
Chairperson of the IEC, Dr. PAM, Program Director, leadership of the IEC, and leaders of different political parties present here today, members of the Diplomatic Corps, representatives of various media houses, comrades and friends. There is a general consensus within the international community that genuine democratic elections are essential for establishing the legitimate authority of a government. Therefore, it is both necessary and reasonable that measures be put in place to enjoin all stakeholders, particularly political parties, to play an active participatory role and contribute meaningfully to the creation of a climate conducive atmosphere to make peaceful, free and fair elections a real possibility. Since 1994, strides have been made to reduce incidences of political violence and politically motivated killings across the country. To a large extent, also to inculcate a culture of political tolerance and virtues of democracy in our society. The important role that the IEC, the government and political parties and their leaders played in the past and can still play to ensure that we achieve sustainable peace and lasting political tolerance cannot be overemphasized. I accordingly urge the political leaders who are here and also the leadership of police and other law enforcement agencies to ensure that adequate numbers of police officers are deployed to the identified hotspots in particular to ensure that no more political carnage takes place. I further urge leaders of political parties to refrain from making irresponsible utterances which entertain acts of political intolerance and spark political violence. The National Freedom Party hereby commits itself to abide by the IEC Code of Conduct for political parties as well as to uphold the Constitution, which guarantees people's freedom to associate and vote for political parties of their own choice without fear or prejudice. We further, as National Freedom Party, commit ourselves to respect the right of other political parties to campaign freely without fear of intimidation or any other threat of political violence. Thank you very much.
Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania.
Izvaletu, good day, Mweni, Dumalang, Namaste, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Goeiemorgen, and all other I failed to mention or forget. Our host, leaders of other political parties, members and leadership of the IEC, citizens of South Africa, members of the media, distinguished guests, and all other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, greetings. And least but not all, my comrades. The Honourable President of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania and its members sends their greetings. The leadership of the PAC has requested me to present a speech on this important event. As a mayoral candidate for Cape Town, the PAC dedicate this speech to the voiceless and the poorest of the poor, the needy and also our nation. Thanking the Almighty for His blessings and mercy for granting me this opportunity to stand here before you as we will embark on our campaigns towards Election Day, May the 18th. We are gathered here in the spirit of the upcoming local government elections to respect and pledge our commitment to the Code of Conduct. As we embrace these elections, we cannot ignore the realities that exist within our communities. It is by acknowledging these realities that we should focus to the enormous task that lies ahead, and that what we pledge today translates into the upliftment of our communities, our nation. Namely these realities, to name but a few, which plagues our communities daily. Unemployment, drugs and alcohol abuse, escalation of crime, homelessness, poor service delivery, or no service delivery, or more sophisticated gravy trains, corruption and nepotism, to name but a few. In the spirit of these elections, we support and uphold free elections and pray for fair elections. PAC, thus, with the above negatives, hereby move forward positively in the spirit of elections. PAC pledges to conduct itself in a manner that will reinforce a culture of tolerance towards all other parties and citizens of South Africa, which will all feel free for their political activity. PAC will desist from using speech that provokes acts of violence or intolerant behavior. PAC, in the spirit of elections 2011, promotes that everyone has the right to freely express their political beliefs and opinions. PAC hereby appeal to all to usher in an era of credibility and accountability. PAC appeals that this elections produces credible councillors countrywide to bring about administrations that will work together for all. In closing, PAC urges all political parties not only to pledge for this election's code of conduct, but let's pledge that we put the interests of our people first. Thank you very much.
Pan-Africanist movement.
Greetings, Dr. PAM, the Chief Executive, and those seated with dignitaries, religious leaders, sons and daughters of the soil. Or seuns en dochters van die grond. We shall remind them that they are seuns and daughters van die grond. they seem not to be saying it nowadays. Whilst as Africanists we respect democracy, we feel strongly that it needs an indigenous content without which it is empty. To political parties, we say there is an inverse relationship between ideological quality and intolerance. The lower the quality, the higher the intolerance. It is therefore within that, or with that in mind, that we will decide how we are going to behave in these elections, which should be free and fair, but as determined by the fact that the quality of an ideology will determine the behavior. Thank you.
South African Progressive Civic Organization.
Program Director, our Chairperson of the IEC, leaders of political parties, organizations representing NGOs and CBOs in South Africa and also abroad, dignitaries, good morning. The South African Progressive Civic Organization is honored to sign the Code of Conduct today. We, Chairperson, are committed and we pledge today to abide to the Code of Conduct. We therefore committed ourselves to peaceful elections and to an election that is free and fair. And we want to call on the voters to go and vote and to execute the vote, to ensure by doing so that they are advancing their own personal interest, but also the interest of the community and the interest of the country at large. I also at the same time would like to call on parties, but not only parties, Chairman, also the leaders of municipalities, to maintain tolerance and respect for one another. Just a couple of weeks ago, our posters were removed by an instruction of the municipality. When we went back to get the posters, it was totally destroyed by an instruction of the municipality. Therefore, it's important, Chairman, that in future we must consider to call the chairpersons of municipality or whoever, the municipal managers, to come and also sign this pledge. Chairperson, allow me to use the remaining time that I have to say to the young artist that was here today, well done. You have demonstrated the life in the townships in the 80s. I want to answer your question. The question that you asked was, where were you in the 80s? I want to say to you that the leaders of the South African Progressive Civic Organization, we were there in the 80s. We were activists. We were activists, student activists. And we know what you have demonstrated here. And also to the chairperson here. Chairperson, allow me to congratulate you with your informative and very constructive speech. I want to say that the fact that the voters' rolls, as we have said, has increased. More people came to register, and more candidates came to stand in the election and contest the elections, is a clear indication, Chairman, that we have a vibrant civil society. And not only that, it is a clear indication that our democracy is alive and well. Thank you.
United Christian Democratic Party.
Program Director, Advocate Pansy Tlakula, the Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Brigalia BAM, dignitaries, fellow South Africans, and leaders of political parties. The United Christian Democratic Party believes in 5 principles. It loves, it tolerates, serves, consults, and respects mankind. It therefore fully subscribes to the code of conduct that we are signing here today and says no political party should act against it. The UCDP believes in taking actions with responsibility and respect for others' property and others. It abhors violence, corruption, as well as intimidation of other political parties. Political tolerance is key to the objectives of the United Christian Democratic Party. We therefore promise South African citizens to abide by the rules that will bring about free, fair, peaceful local government elections on May 18th, 2011. The UCDP therefore would like to wish all other political parties luck in the coming elections. I thank you.
United Democratic Movement.
Chairperson, thank you very much for bringing us together in this hall on this day in this fashion, because this will definitely enable us to be the real witnesses of who was lying to the nation as soon as the real campaigning begins in earnest. So the United Democratic Movement and its members as a whole will definitely abide by the code of conduct as prescribed in your documents. A lot has been said here about what is going to happen or what is not going to happen, but the UDM says we are going to make this a very, very important event on the 18th of May 2011. We will create an environment, a very conducive environment to a free and fair election. You watch our behavior outside, as I say, you will be the witnesses of what we are doing here today. We actually would not tolerate corruption. It has been said that we must not campaign. I'm not campaigning. I'm just saying what we will not do. We will not tolerate corruption. As we normally say, this is not really campaigning. It is what we are. We have been like that all the time. We will continue being like that all the time into the future. Thank you very much. We wish you well in the election, in the work that you are doing.
United Independent Front. United Residents Front.
Program Director, Advocate Pansi Tlakula, IEC CEO, IEC Commissioners present here, the Chairperson of IEC, Dr. Brigadier PAM, the POs and their teams, members of the Diplomatic Corps, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. Dumelang Molweni. We have met here today to witness a history in making. We have met here today as stakeholders in a democratic process to champion a new course in our country, South Africa, in her third local government democratic elections 2011. We have met here, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, to recommit ourselves to a globally accepted concept of democracy, which at times it is differently interpreted and misunderstood. The United Residents Front, from her inception in the late 80s, committed herself to unite the residents of South Africa under a banner of patriotic and a united front. The United Residents Front, therefore, will not compromise in clean and transparent ways of addressing social issues, including matters of national interests. In the United Residents Front, as a social movement with a positive action, hereby want to publicly declare to the nation and the international community the United Residents Front is advocating for residents' power as an antidote to the daily mushrooming GNM mass protests by the residents. Ke ka hoo he re kopang ditho tsa rona balatelli bathoholetsi ho itshwara hantle nakong ena ya ho itukisetsa dikgetho ka nako ya dikgetho le ka mora ho phatlalatswa ha diphetho. The United Residents Front is for free, fair, transparent and globally accepted elections. It commits herself to abide by the Elections Code of Conduct, Electoral Act, rules and regulations of elections. We call for all our members, supporters, alliances, voters, our followers, and all social activists to be exemplary and act responsibly during this time. We are ready. Yafo Fanunyan.
Vryheid Front Plus.
Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, now Section 1D of our Constitution clearly states that we should have regular elections and a multi-party system of government. Now that is what we are busy with this morning up to the 18th of May. We are not a one-party state, as some here behind me may wish. Neither are we a two-party system, as others here sometimes proclaim. But we are a multi-party system, as all the different many political parties contesting these local government elections exactly prove at the moment. Some red alarm lights on our democracy are starting to flicker, and much more need to be done to ensure that we remain a truly multi-party democratic system of government. But surely this is a topic of another day. Die Vryheidsfront Plus glo dat het in Suid-Afrika en in die demokrasie se belang is dat een party nie oorweldigend alle mag moet hê nie. As elke kiezer wat ook so glo wel hierdie keer gaan stem vir die party wie se waardes die naaste aan hom of haar is, kan ons met oppositiekoalisies magsmisbruik in Suid-Afrika verminder. Program Director, the last few weeks everywhere in South Africa I've been watching candidates been running around to become official candidates. Even though nominations have closed, some are still running around, but now to their party offices to protest and to complain. Since yesterday, when the IEC announced all the nominations of the different parties and candidates, they all stopped running. And suddenly they became the standing candidate for this or that ward or council. Come 18 May 2011, and they are elected, they will all become the sitting councillors for a council. You will notice, Chairman, that there is unfortunately less and less activity from the candidates. First they are running, then they're becoming standing, and we end up with them all sitting. This is exactly the wrong way around. What South Africa needs are councillors who are now sitting with the electorate to hear what their needs are. Then the candidate should stand up to proclaim and defend what the public wants. And lastly, once elected, they should start running to see that all their promises are implemented. And that they deliver to the public. This is what the public rightfully will be expecting, and what we in the Freedom Front Plus intend exactly to do. Program Director, if we look at the Ivory Coast and other countries in crisis, we realize that it's important not only to attain victory in a democracy, but to retain democracy itself. The Freedom Front Plus has a proven record of keeping to the rules, and we will once again do so. We are committed to a free and fair election, and that is the spirit in which we will participate. Thank you very much.